Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Red and Blue News and welcome to the Red and Blue Review. I'm going to commit murder this evening with these two when they eventually turn up. I'm going to kill them both. I'm your host. My name is Nick Philpott. And sadly, I'm going to be joined by Ian Lyons shortly. I'm already joined, as you can see, by Jill Holyoke. And in the background, producing for us this evening is the talented Greg Ellis. So thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. Is he there, Jill?
Who?
If you're messing about...
Me? Huh? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you. Jill, speak.
Don't worry about that. It's better with the lights off.
Okay, I'm going to carry on without Jill. In fact, I'm going to bin him off because he's winding me up.
No! I'm not!
I can't... Jill, if you're messing about, I can't hear you. Okay, right, I'm going to carry on.
No. I can see Jill. Can you not see Jill?
But I can't see you either, Ian. So I'm going to carry on. I can see Jill, but I can't hear him.
Right, okay. I'll just do the sounding.
Yeah, let him do the visuals. Jill, just open your mouth, Jill. I'll go up and down, and Ian will talk for you. That's it.
I can see he's actually opening his mouth.
So can I. I can see it, but I can't hear him. Right.
Oh, okay.
So this evening, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be discussing yesterday's really well-earned point away at the Etihad Stadium in Manchester. That's 4 points in 2 seasons. Fantastic. We'll be discussing the transfer window so far, if we ever get this technology sorted out. Okay, and we will be catching up with your questions, some of them along the way, because we've got lots to get through this evening. Okay, but we've got loads and loads of questions to catch up on. Before we get to that, a couple of little please, if you don't mind, please open a watch party on your own Facebook page. What you had to do, watch party, share the Red and Blue News, and bring as many people on as you like. It'll be great to have them on board, and it tells them what you're watching as well. You can also find us on Twitter, YouTube, Big Heads Media at any time to either watch, listen, or download this or any of our podcasts. Simply go to redandbluereview.co.uk, the only podcast you can watch. So, Ian, how are you, mate? Okay. Ian, I'm talking to you.
I'm here. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
What's going on?
Can you see me?
Yes. I'm talking to you.
Way. Technology works. Right. Okay. What is it you want to know?
I asked you how you were. You just
well, apart from disappearing in and out, not bad. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. This is stressing me out. Jill, can you see me?
Yes.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I presume the listeners can see and hear Jill.
What they're seeing and hearing is a car crash.
Yeah, absolutely right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to kick off, if you don't mind. Ian, we'll start off with the lineups. Greg, if you'd be so kind. It'll be useful to go through, especially the Palace lineup, if you'd be so kind. So, I'll read out: Guaita, Kelly, Tompkins, Cahill, Riedewald, that I want to talk to you about in great detail. Jordan Ayew, Kouate, McCarthy, Zaha, and making his full debut for Palace, Cenk Tosun. Right, Ian, start off with you. Your thoughts, please, on the lineup. Any surprises? Anything you weren't expecting there?
No, I mean, I think really the only surprise is that we didn't have any further injuries. I think.
Yeah, that's right.
Blood.
Where you gone, Ian? Greg, you're going to need to step in here in a second, mate, because I can't see either of them now. They're both gone.
I'm here. This fucking Be Live is absolute dog shit.
Anybody there? Somebody talk to me. Greg, talk to me.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
I can hear you. What's going on, Greg?
Okay, not really sure what's happening here. I think we're getting a mixture of people not being able to hear people and people not being able to see people. So hopefully, what I'll do is I'll drop myself out and we'll bring Ian back in.
Right, I'm here. Ian, I don't know where Jill's gone.
Right, I'm here. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
We were doing the, ladies and gentlemen, I do apologise for this technical, what do you call it, a car crash? I was going to call it a cock-up a minute ago. But line up. So, Tosun making his debut for Palace.
Yeah, no, it was, as I was saying before I was so rudely cut off, the major surprise was the fact that we didn't have any injuries going into this game, certainly any new ones, and they were obviously welcoming back Ward as a sub, so that was a nice little present to have, wasn't it? Take players.
Question on that one, then, as you raised that already, Ian. Question on that: why, if he was fit to play, did he not start Joel Ward?
No, you can't. When you're coming back from an injury, you've got to allow people the time to get back, because Kelly's not been a bad player anyway. Kelly's done really well in his absence, and it would have been pretty rough on Kelly to have dropped him just because Ward's back. And I think, well, we'll come on to that later on in the show about players when they get fit, whether they're just going to be able to walk straight back in the side or not. But no, I think it was the right decision. Ease him in gently.
And Jel, I presume you can see and hear me. Okay, I know you're there. Any surprises in the lineup for you?
No, not at all. I'm just happy that when players are playing well or playing okay, that they're not
just drop Jel off. Okay, Ian and I do it because I can't hear Jel or even see him. So
I can hear and see him.
Last I saw is that he was drinking milk.
Okay.
So, were you aware of any pre-existing other injuries in the starting lineup? I know Kouati was carrying a knock, Zaha was carrying a knock, but the manager tried to really labour the point. It looks the manager is really labouring the point in his post-match interviews about injured players currently playing.
Well, I mean, that's going to happen, isn't it? I mean, very rarely does a professional play injury-free. Everyone they often play with niggles here and there, but that's just going to be understandable, isn't it? I mean, if we've obviously spoken about over the last few weeks, if you're going to be playing players week in, week out and not able to give them a rest, they're going to be playing with injuries.
Yeah, okay. Right, so do you want to do your first half run through?
Sure, yeah, okay, right. So to the game. So unusually in the last, compared to the last few games, the game actually got to a really brisk start, both for us and for the opposition. But clearly City were just gunning for it. They needed to try and get the points to at least make the title chase respectable. And they were just on the attack from the start, with us sitting back, keeping things tight. But within the first 10 minutes, they had already had like 4 attempts, which were blocked to just went wide. I mean, there was some last-ditch tackling in the first 10 minutes. McCarthy both put in a couple of great blocks, and that was obviously an indicator of what was to come. But on 10 minutes, it was clear as to what the tactics were going to be. They were obviously going to be targeting our weakness, or what's perceived to be our weakness in a minute, and it's defending from crosses. I mean, they were normally, when they get to the byline, they actually try and cut it back to a third-man run on the edge of the box, coming into the box. But this time they were just chipping it deep, bypassing our admittedly tall centre-backs, because obviously the height advantage, they're never going to win that. And they were getting some success over it. Us, on the other hand, we were actually getting the ball, and rather than doing what we have been doing the last 18 months, playing it out into the defensive midfield and then out wide, we were just hitting the channels, because obviously they play with a split centre backs and then push their wing backs high, and we were just exploiting the channels. And obviously with someone like Tosun, who's obviously proved it, that's the ideal foil. I mean, someone a forward that can run. Who thought it? So it was a frantic start, and then on 13 minutes, Ayew, just as I was thinking, actually, we're doing all right. We're not giving the ball away. Ayew, with one of his normal lackadaisical passes, gives the ball away in our half, and immediately they're on the break, and MacArthur has to make a Luca-type cynical foul, which gives him a free kick. De Bruyne steps up to the free kick, even though it's 30 yards away, and hits an absolute perler of a kick, hits the bar, and then go to nowhere near it. Comes back into play.
Hold that thought. So the clown on Sky Sports News yesterday, the bloke that was covering our game was Paul Merson, yeah? So at that point, he announces that Guaisa just pulled off a world-class save. What an absolute, it was nowhere near it, as you rightly said. Carry on.
Yeah, no, he was absolutely nowhere near it. And from the recycled ball, Aguero then has an attempt at the near post, which is saved by Guaita's face. And this is on 30 minutes. So we've already, it's sort of like the Alamo from the start. Then on 17 minutes, Wilf, who did a lot of work off the ball up until then, manages to get into their box. And in my eyes, and I really can't believe, and I probably haven't got much time for people that thinks it should have been a penalty. How the hell it went to VAR, I've got no idea. It was just a solid challenge. If that had been given against us, we would have been screaming from the rooftops. But it just showed that we were able to hit them on the break. Up until that point, Tosun has showed enough to warrant us, and the reasons why we got going for him. I know that we'd said that our heart says no, but our head says yes, and that he's the kind of player that will be a focal point as long as we give him the service. So he's shown a good early start to his career.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, but I mean, City are like a machine, and they just kept on coming at us. And then, even at the 30-minute mark, they won another 4 corners over the next 10 minutes. But fortunately, because they're such a small side, we were able to deal with them. And then on 39 minutes, the game was ebbing and flowing. And on 39 minutes, we finally managed to get enough possession in their box to win a corner through some good work by Chiarte. Obviously, we're filling the box. And at this point, I'm actually finished playing football. I'm sitting there watching it with a Man City fan. And he's saying, "Oh, we're rubbish at corners. I said, well, so are we, to be fair. And then McCarthy, you could see Cahill at the back post pointing to where he wanted it. McCarthy lofts the ball over, and then Cahill just gets it where he wants it, powers a header to the far post, and Tosun again powers it back across Edison, 1-0. I mean, it was a fantastic goal.
As much as your Man City mate says we're terrible at defending corners, was he aware at that point that we hadn't scored from one all season?
No, he's a plastic City fan. He's not aware of anything.
Yeah.
So,
were you aware of that fact?
Yeah, because we've discussed it before. But, that's why I said to him as well, we're not great at corners either. But still, 1-0. And I'm just thinking, oh, my God, this is like Christmas come all over again, isn't it? It's
absolutely.
It's crazy, like this time last year. Yeah. So that puts us 1-0 up. And then the very next minute, we win the ball deep. And we hit it long to Tosun, who's inside left. And he shows a lovely bit of skill on the half volley with the outside of his right foot to flick it. Right, takes John Stones completely out of the picture. And Fernandinho bearing down on him over Edison. And you think, okay, he's maybe got a chance. And he just manages to clip Fernandinho's heels, but still puts it away. It was really unlucky. But I like the fact that he's clinical. He seems to be. Whether or not it was just a one-off game and he'll fade over the next few, I don't know. But still, I mean, I like what I saw. He certainly showed more in that first 40 minutes than I've seen from Benteke in the last season. Yeah, exactly. So in the remaining 5 minutes after that lucky escape for them, they then pound in. This is what I love about City. I mean, you have to admire them. They just do not, as I said earlier, they come at you like a machine. They just do not take their foot off the gas, and they're just
relentless, absolutely relentless, aren't they?
They are, without a shadow of a doubt. And within the remaining 5 minutes, they had another 2 chances and another 3 corners, all of which come to nothing. So we go into the half-time break, 1-0 up, thinking, how
and on that subject, before you move on to the second half, I want to do some hellos. I don't know if you can see any. And Kevin Lyons has already left because of the technical issues. I think George Agnew, Jason Green, James Garlick, Andrew Adams, Matthew Luke, Mac Francis, Paul Glance, Jordan O'Day, good evening. Grant Saunders, happy birthday yesterday, Grant. You shared the same birthday as Pep Guardiola. I bet you had a better day than he had. Dan Simmons, we're sending you our love. Hope everything's okay with the family. Curtis Simon, Lee Clark, James Convoy, Eagle Joey's out there, Paul Holden, Terry Kirby, Tyler's out there, Miko's out there. Who else we got? Nigel Croucher, Steve Jordan, Chris Brandrick, Max Francis. Hello to each and every one of you, wherever you are watching the Red and Blue Review in the world. Thank you for joining us on this Sunday evening. Carry on, mate.
Okay, so we go on to the second half. That starts pretty much in the same vein as the first half ended, with a couple of efforts by City almost immediately. And then on 55 minutes, again, we go close. Wilf floats a lovely ball from the wing. And this is what we need to see more from our wingers.
Yeah.
Is feeding that striker. He floats a beautiful ball in, and Tosun somehow manages to get it under control, and in a flowing movement, lets off this left foot shot straight at goal
Edison.
for Edison.
Yeah.
And it was so powerful, even though it's like 20 yards out, Edison can only just parry it away, and thankfully for them, out of his path. Then on 62 minutes, City then start to throw the dice, and what they do is they bring Jesus on to put two up front and take David Silva off, which for me was a bit of a relief in one way, because Silva would be pulling the strings quite a bit, but it also means it gives our defence a lot more to think about, with two little bees running, buzzing in and around them. And as soon as he came on, and this is really impressive. Normally, when a player comes on, as we'll talk about in a minute, it takes him a while just to get into the game, but he was straight in the game. Beautiful first touch, ping, 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 as an effort at a near post, which thankfully he miscues and goes wide. Then on 72 minutes, now it's a shame Jel's not been able to get back on yet, because we spoke after the game. Now, at the time, my Man City mate, who's actually a ref, penalty, and I'm saying, I've got to say, that is a penalty. Riedeveld, ball to hand, ref gives it, and I'm thinking to myself, that's nailed on. And he's saying, yeah, I can't believe, VAR doesn't give it. And I say to Jel afterwards, because Jel unfortunately didn't get a chance to see it, he's saying, well, they were saying it wasn't a penalty anyway. And I'm saying, mate, if you see it, it's like his arm is out, it's unnatural position, no matter what anyone says, unnatural position. And then I find out when I watch Match of the Day, I was completely wrong. My mate, the Man City mate who's a ref, is completely wrong, which says a lot about the state of refereeing. Because Law 12 actually states if it comes off your own body onto your hand, it's not a penalty.
Correct.
So if the VAR knew that, why didn't our ref know that? So that's a question, isn't it? So I don't.
You were worrying me for all of that segment. You worried the shit out of me. I'm about to say to you, Ian, do you remember the Grange Hill sketch and the public awareness campaign? Just say no. That's what was coming your way, because you were saying it's a penalty all day long. There was no way on God's earth it was that intentional in the first place. And the fact that he came off his own body was a byproduct of the law. Yeah, that's right. For that, it was no penalty.
Well,
His leg was outstretched to its maximum. He just managed to make contact with the ball. The ball's got up in the air and hit him on the arm. There's no way. And the way he was moving back towards the byline, there was no way he could move his arms out of the way, put them down, shove them behind his back. It was never going to be a penalty. So I'm glad you got to the end of that.
I'm loving this recreation, mate. We should do Phoenix from the Flames or something, because that was almost textbook. I should have worn my ref kit and gone penalty.
Move on.
Right. So, thankfully, penalty overturned. And I saw in the chat earlier that Dan Seaton has said, how can VAR still be getting big decisions so wrong? Should have had a penalty at 1-0. Was cast iron for me. It's actually quite disgusting. Well, Dan, you got to suck it up like I did, mate, because Rule 12 applies.
Rule 12 did apply. You're wrong, Dan.
Exactly. Not even refs know about it, apparently. So we're not alone. And then, again, it's like the Alamo, it's blocks here. We're defending like dogs. I tell you, it was such a shift. McCarthy and MacArthur getting that old partnership going again that they had for Wigan, which is what I was hoping to see when McCarthy came. But he's been quite disappointing, even though we paid next to nothing for him. I've still been disappointed.
But he hasn't had a great run of games, in fairness, has he?
No, and I completely understand that. That's why I was saying it's disappointing as opposed to he's jank and get rid of him. Right. So on 81 minute, for me, I think this could have been a turning point in the game, but hindsight's probably a wonderful thing. So it may just be that I'm a hindsight warrior, yeah. But Tosun is replaced by Wickham, and then 1 minute later, just after the sub, there's a great ball from Jesus, and it's such a peach of a ball. And as a defender, it's an absolute nightmare. I mean, to defend, and Cahill throws himself full length as if he's trying to score it himself. But right at the back post, sliding in, Aguero, the consummate pro. I mean, that guy is just phenomenal striker. Volleys in, and it was close, but not obviously too close for Gator to get any reaction. And goes 1-0. And I just looked to my mate and just said, I'm going to the loo. And I'll tell you what, by the time I come back, you'll be 2-1 up, because you could just see that it was coming. And then straight after that, Jesus has a chance from another peach of a cross out from the wing. And he goes close and actually should have buried it, should have put the header in. Whether or not it'd have been offside is a moot point, but it's just coming. You know it's coming. And then on 87 minutes, yet another cross from the wing, which again, I come back to, seems to be our weakness, especially if it's got quality on it. Finds Aguero in space in between both centre-backs, and you can't blame them. They've been running around chasing ghosts for most of the game. And again, fair play to Aguero. The pace on the cross helps him, but it's a textbook header into the ground, higher into the net. Nothing Gator could have done with it. And to be fair, other than it'd be really harsh to criticise Tompkins and Cahill for letting him get that space, but that's why he's worth what he's worth, and that's why he's world class. So 2-1, and you just think, man. And then I look around the pitch, I'm thinking, everyone is running. Everyone. Oh, hang on a minute. What's Wickham doing? Wickham's done nothing but walk around the bloody pitch since he came on. Having seen Tosun run himself into the ground, Wickham is doing bugger all. And then it's more attack, and I'm just thinking, that's it. That's gutting. That's a great performance, but to come away from this with nothing is just, criminal.
Before you move on to our goal, yeah, and I know you're about to, can I just ask you something? Chris Brandrix just said in the chat, Vincente's positioning was poor for the second goal. I'm gonna play a little bit of devil's advocate here, Chris. I guarantee I get what you're saying. And by the way, I know Damon's on there, Mickey Philpott's out there, Nick Gussett's out there. Love to your family, mate. I'm going to play a little bit of. Guaita has been to me the player of the season. That's my caveat before I say what I'm about to say. Okay, the two defenders, the two centre halves. Hold on, the two centre halves were caught out of position for Aguero to get in between them and score the goal. I get that, okay, and they were. I have a question, and you're about to go Gary at me, Ian, so fill your boots. Because of the size of Guaita, would Wayne Hennessy have saved that goal, that second goal?
Had Hennessy started from the same point, possibly got his fingers to it, whether or not he would have reacted as quickly as Gator, even though he didn't get there, or whether or not he would have even strong enough fingers to push it round the post, I don't know. But then you can counteract that and say, would Hennessy have saved some of the stuff that Gator had saved during the game? Would he have come off his line as much as Gator had done? Catching the ball, swings and roundabouts. To blame or suggest that Gator was out of position for that, I think, is a trifle harsh. I'll take the point. I'll take the point on board. I don't necessarily agree with it. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
So then we come on to the last look into the game. 90 minutes. They've got possession just in our half, and then Maka puts in an unbelievable unbelievable tackle, sliding in, hooking the ball up, and this is on 90 minutes after he's done the work he's done.
Which Macca?
Well, the only one, Jimmy Mack. Well, I thought it was Jimmy Mack.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you know what, Ian? I'm going to do something now that you don't even know where I'm. I've had a conversation with Jel today because Jel's been oozing about Jimmy McCarthy for the last 2 or 3 weeks and how wonderful he's been and everything else. And I said to him, "You've got to see what he did in midfield on the build-up of Wilf's goal. He put in a great challenge on that centre line. Okay, put Wilf in, blah blah blah, put the ball away. I think I'm wrong, ladies and gentlemen in the chat. Who made that challenge? I think it was McCarthy, not MacArthur. Over to you. I haven't watched it back, but I think it was McCarthy. Over to you guys in the chat. Sorry, Ian, away you go.
No. Well, whoever it is got up and then had the presence of mind to look up, played a wonderful ball, and as our very own Ben Allen said on the chat the other day, it's nice to have a ball played to Wilf to run onto as opposed to into his feet, which then slows game up as he's faced up by a couple of defenders. Wilf then tears down the left-hand side, busting a gut. Hadn't really done much offensively all game, but the one chance he gets, he puts in a cross. And at this point, Wickham and Fernandino are having a wrestling match in the centre of the pitch as they're running towards goal because Wickham's actually moving. But then Fernandinho manages to get past him just at the time that Wilf then lays the ball back and off his shin into the back of net. No more than we deserve. At this point, my mate's throwing fine off the table.
Wickham would have got there as well, by the way, in fairness to him. He was already there.
Oh, yeah, he would have done. He would have done. But if you look, when Fernandino gets in front of him, he actually gives up. Had Fernandino not been there, he would have been in position. But
I need to answer the questions in the stuff in the chat because in answer to what I said, there's people still disputing who it was that made that challenge, and I'm going to go with it. Chris Brandrick, McCarthy, Rob Donovan. It says James. That doesn't help. Paul Glance said it was Jimmy. It was Jimmy Mack. Away Day Eagle said it was McCarthy. Colin Andrews said definitely McCarthy. Graham Wick said McCarthy. Neil Chatterjee said it was Jimmy Mack. Neil, you're wrong.
I thought it was a right foot pass, which is why I thought it was McCarthy.
Andrew Adams said spot on, Nick. I watched it 3 times and it was McCarthy that played that ball to Wilf. Max Frost
Andrew, you're third man looking at 3 times.
Nick Gussett said it was McCarthy. It was McCarthy who won the ball, had his best game for us, said Miko. Peter, sorry, Peter, I can't read your surname. McCarthy, he says, not MacArthur. 22, Jimmy Mack. Mickey Philpott says McCarthy. Bruno says McCarthy. Terry says McCarthy. It's McCarthy, guys, not Jimmy Mack. I'm sorry, it was McCarthy. Somebody go and watch it as we're broadcasting now. It's James McCarthy.
You don't need to. Andrew Adams has watched it 3 times. And Lord Gussett says it as well. So, done.
We trust those two, don't we, implicitly?
Well, one of them.
Curtis saying it was number 12. Curtis is watching it right now, and he said it's number 12. That's James McCarthy. James McCarthy. So I was right. So go on in.
I thought you were going to say Piarte then.
Right, what about man of the match then? Before you do your stats, we'll do that in a minute.
To be fair, I didn't actually see all the game. I came in and watched the last 30 minutes. But from what I saw, Riederveld's impressed me no end. I know he's impressing a lot of people. But I think, it's going to be it has to be so hard to pick a man in a match from that performance. But Jimmy Mack was the person that stood out for me at that time. But I've no doubt that there were plenty of other candidates.
Right, ladies and gentlemen in the chat, you heard him. Who was the man of the match in your? And the answer is you can't have the whole team. You can't have the manager. Okay, it was out of the 12 or 13 players that featured. Who was the man of the match in your opinion yesterday afternoon? Nick Gussie, I know you're out there. I see you're asking a question. Are the trainers blue or pink? I've no idea what you're talking about. But who's your man of the match, Nick? Let me know. Go on in, carry on, mate. Stats?
Right, okay, stats for the game. Man City have conceded 12 goals in their 12 league games at the Etihad this season. That's as many as their 19 league matches last season. Crystal Palace have drawn 4 consecutive Premier League games for only the second time. Guardiola became the 5th manager to take charge of Man City in the Premier League on his birthday, with all 5 failing to win. Yeah. Had I known of that, I might have put money on us to get something out of the game.
Go on, who were they?
They were Brian Horton, Joe Royle, Mark Hughes, and Mancini. Off the top of my head.
Yeah, bullshit, because you're reading it the same as I am.
The only thing that's off the top of my head is the light bouncing. Right. Palace's Cenk Tosun, on loan from Everton, became only the 4th Turkish player to reach 10 or more Premier League goals after Muzzy Izzet. Blimey, remember him for Leicester?
Yeah.
Tunchai Sanley, I can't remember.
No.
Didn't Tunchai play for Blackburn Rovers?
Yeah, Tunchai is what he was known as.
Or was that Tugai? Because Tugai was the other one.
Tugai is the other one. Right, ladies and gentlemen in the Facebook world, do me a favour. Let's leave out on the kebab references to our new striker. It's just unnecessary, isn't it? I mean, it's borderline. You just leave it alone. It's just, he's currently wearing the red and blue, and because he's wearing the red and blue, we get behind him because he's wearing the red and blue. So, man of the match nominations in the chat, and Lee Clark says Jimmy Mack. George Waggle says Tosun. James Elsie said Jimmy Mack. Peter, you're saying Wilf Zaha. I'm going to come back to that. Lucas is saying Tompkins. Jason's saying Tompkins. Miko saying Tompkins. Terry saying Jimmy Mack, not McCarthy. Steve Chandler saying Iwu. John Knox said Zaha. Let's do Zaha. Really? Zaha? Zaha's contribution to me yesterday in the game, was potentially winding up the Man City fans. Was giving it the cup tears, all that sort of stuff. Pretty ineffective most of the game. Fantastic run for the equaliser. Cross ball straight to it would have been straight on Wickham's big foot, and even he wouldn't have missed that. But apart from that, was he a man of the match? I actually put in.
Not in a million years.
I put in the chat, in our admin chat yesterday, that during the game live, while I was watching it live, to me, James Tompkins at the back was imperious. He was just fantastic. And you can't even fault Gary Cahill. I thought he was brilliant as well. But I
think Tompkins and Cahill as a partnership are just immense. 2 quality acquisitions for a combined fee of £10 million.
Again, you raise a wonderful point, mate. You're raising a wonderful one. One of the questions later on is about the current starting 11 against the 8 or 9 that we have out. And we'll come back. Remember that point that you just raised there, Ian, because it's well worth discussing. Okay, carry on, mate. Talking points from the game.
Okay, well, I think we'll go to those highly, what can I say, generous man and a match votes for Wilf. Currently, this is like the 3rd, 4th match running where he's not been fantastic. He's done actually a lot of work off the ball, to be fair, but he's just done one thing, which has resulted in a goal. And you cannot knock him for that. And I guess the only thing,
which is his job.
Yeah, without a doubt. And the only thing that's actually saved him from being hauled off is the fact that we're trying to flog him. So my question to everyone is Wilf currently, based on that performance, based on his recent performance, is he really worth 80 million?
Nah, there's the question.
Well, and whilst people pile on and answer that, I'll give you my opinion. I think he's worth 80 million, if not 100 million, to us. But Man City fans will look at his ineffectiveness for 89 minutes, and you compare that to their effectiveness, Chelsea will look at that and say, 80 million, you've got to be having a laugh. You know, when you look at the quality that they have, like Willian on one wing, you know, and Hudson-Odoi on the other wing. Yeah, Arsenal will be, you know, probably. Okay, go on. What? Go on.
Two things. First of all, Guardiola actually said in his post-match press conference late in the second half, he got one message onto the pitch, was just double up on Zaha, and they neglected to do it, and it cost them the game.
Let him run.
So then I've got to refer to 2 points, quick points in the chat, okay, because you're going to like them, okay. And I've got to find it now because they've cleared off my screen. But the word imperious that I used about James Tompkins a minute ago, somebody said that's got to be the word of the day. And then somebody else in the chat said imperious. Yeah, don't find that word on any other Palace group. Only the better page like Red and Blue Review. So whoever,
what other podcasts would you hear anti-disestablishmentarianism on? Either. I mean, let's knock it out of the park, guys.
Are you watching Gusset? Get your arse on him, mate. Okay, Greg, send Nick Gusset a link to the show. Bring him on right now.
Get Jel back on. What's happened to Jel?
I think he's gone mad. So the kindest thing was to do was put him down. So that was kindest thing. Put him out of his misery anyway. Right, go on, carry on. So we're talking about Wilf Zaha.
Yeah.
So because of what you're saying, are you saying to me then, as a discussion point, that Wilf Zaha is not worth to anybody else 80 million quid, but Michy Batshuayi is worth 40 million quid? What about a straight swap? No cash deal, no other players?
No. Because
why?
Because if we're at Tosun, haven't we got a clause in there to buy him at the end of the season?
Yeah,
if he does well.
But we still need two strikers anyway.
Well, we got Benteke.
Yeah. Okay.
Where's the time? Greg, we need to work on that because every time we mention his name, we've got to have a tumbleweed gift go across or something along those lines. Right, that's a note for the committee. Right,
Lee Lockwood said no to my suggestion.
Yeah. No, Batshuayi is not worth 40, don't get me wrong. He's not even worth 40 to Chelsea. They just know that people are after strikers in a minute and they're just selling to the highest bidder. That's all they're doing. But I think this is the problem with Wilf. I think all the big teams don't need someone of his ability at the minute. So where is he going to go? I can't think of anyone. Tottenham could probably do with him, don't get me wrong, but they are never. Levy won't pay his kids 10 quid pocket money, let alone give us 80 million.
I've got to give you some of these bits in the chat, okay? I'm going to test you in a minute. Jason Green says, bounce back ability moment for Nick Philpott. So obviously they're not agreeing with my 40 million quid. Who used the term bounce back ability? Quick, go.
Dowie. Didn't he go north quite a while back?
Yeah, he went north to Charlton, didn't he? Yeah, something like that.
Allegedly.
Who else we got? Lee Lockwood says, guys, I reckon it's the end of Christian Benteke. Tosun scores a few, and I've got no problem with that. Paul Rundle.
Wait, he's already scored more.
Yeah, you're right. Paul Rundle, great exchange with you earlier, mate. I hope you're well. You know the rules. If you need me for anything, pick up the phone. God bless to you, and I look forward to seeing you again. And we'll have that pint very soon, I promise you.
Make sure he's paying, Paul.
No, I don't pay for it. I'm radio royalty now, so I don't have to. Paul Glance says, Wilf is the only player to get me off my seat, even when he's crap. Mark Bushwood says, Wilf...
He got me off my seat yesterday. I just fell off. I was going, oh, no, he isn't giving the ball away again.
Neil Chatterjee says, is Pepe at Arsenal worth £70 million? Zaha to us is priceless. Tim Richards... Now, I've got to do Tim Richards if you don't mind. Tim and Wendy, I look forward to seeing you both on Tuesday night at Selhurst Park. My guess, all the way from, this is a commute for the game, isn't it? This is a commute for the game. New Zealand for the game. Okay, they're coming over.
No, that's not. Listen, I'm sure we can get someone come from Hawaii, which would really blitz that.
So, Wendy, look forward to meeting you. Okay, and Tim, and the same to you, mate. We'll have a nice evening, I promise. Paulie Smith, we still owe Man United when we do sell Zaha. Good point, Pauline.
25%.
Mickey Philpott laughing at what you said. We still got Ben Teke. Oh, how I laughed, he said. We've got lots of stuff going on in the chat. Yeah, Ian Dowie, you're right, Andrew, I've seen that. And Jamil Hussain, Wilf will go abroad in the summer. And do you know what, Jamil? I wouldn't care if he did. I would sooner he goes to a German club or a Spanish club than he lines up against the Palace next season in the Premier League. I don't know if I'm the only one that thinks that.
Unfortunately, Jamal, I don't think you're right. From what we've heard for quite a few months now from
Chelsea thing's done, yeah.
Well, no, it's just that he doesn't want to leave London. He doesn't want to come out of London. So the likelihood is it will be Chelsea, I think, at some stage. Maybe not till the end of the season now. But I can't see him going in. The only thing I could potentially see is maybe PSG. Obviously, he speaks French. And to be fair, the commute from Biggin Hill out to Paris is only like an hour, isn't it? But I don't know. That might be pushing it a little bit. But yeah, I can't see him going anywhere other than somewhere in London.
Ladies and gentlemen out in Red and Blue Review Land, are you holding a watch party? If not, push the share button on your page, okay, and hit the word watch party. Tell the world where you're watching this show because we want it to come on. Just correcting somebody. Ben Allen, I can see you in the chat, mate. I can see 72. I don't know what you're looking at, but I can see 72. But thank you for the information anyway. Right, so where are we going on to next? Roy's tactics. You wanted to talk about Roy's tactics.
Yeah, well, I touched upon it earlier on, didn't I, about the fact that we were, rather than playing it round into the defensive midfielder and then back out, we were actually hitting it long and exploiting the channels. And it's nice to see Roy change things. Okay, he set up with the same formation and the same 11 that you'd expect him to play, but it was just nice to see because I think and this is where we try and be fair across the board. Me, Jel, Nick, Lucy, Ben's, and the others that come on. What we don't want to be is have rose tinted glasses all the time. We call things as we see them, and fair play to Roy. It was nice to see him actually changing according to the opposition. And I'd be interested if we play in a similar fashion to Liverpool, because that's exactly how to turn them around as well. And anyone that watched the Man United game earlier.
Sorry about that, my apologies.
That's quite all right. I'm really
doing the watch party. I'm doing a watch party.
What have you just posted it on the Brighton forum?
I actually did it on the Red and Blue News page.
Oh, okay, good man. Yeah, so that's all I wanted to say about Roy's tactics. It was just nice to see, you can't teach the old dog new tricks because he's seen them all before. So good.
Well, it's quite interesting because Ben sent me a message a minute ago, which I can't see, and it was somebody actually. It was Steve Bray not questioning, but asking questions on Roy's tactics. Look, the guy. I've got a question for you on the subject of Roy's tactics. Somebody else, and I'll probably come across it later on. I'll tell you who it was. I've got it right here. It was actually Musty Cham. Musty, you've been prolific on the page recently, so thank you for all your content and your contact. I'm really grateful for it, mate. Okay. He says, are we getting enough credit for our league position? Discuss.
Yeah, I saw that actually from Musty. He posted it a couple of hours ago, didn't he? I don't think we are, but that's fine by me because we're very much a team where people don't, we're not the headline grabbers. We only get mentioned if we're playing against the likes of Man City or Liverpool or whatever.
Yeah, fair play.
But when we are given the focus, they do say what a great job Hodgson is doing, and no one can decry that. But as we said, I just hope it's not at the cost later on in the season where the dependables that we've got currently just suddenly start falling like flies again. But we'll have to wait and see.
Nick Gillard has just said in there, watch party, ? I thought Nick Philpott still used the sundial. Is there any
and an abacus?
And an abacus. Well, I can't even use it on those. The way I look at it is have a look at Musty, your point is well made, and I think you're right to highlight the fact that we are in ninth place with a run of winnable games coming up, okay? Southampton, Sheffield, Everton, Newcastle, Brighton, Watford and Bournemouth. We could be West Ham. Listen to this. And if those of you who don't know the West Ham games coming up, bear in mind, I think they're fifth from bottom at the moment. West Ham are in deep doggy doo-doo. Their next 5 games, they've got Liverpool home and away. That's Liverpool home and away. They've got Man City away. They've then got Leicester away. And then they've got Brighton at home. They are, West Ham could be, at the end of those run of 5 or 6 games, could be in deep shit by then. And nothing will make me happier.
Do you know what? I'm not a malicious person or anything like that. Those people who know me will know that. And I can see and I hope that they get 3 points out of that run. I'm sure people can guess on where I'd want them to get 3 points. But, let's be kind to them, because 3 points out of that potential 15, it still won't be enough to keep them up. Let's be honest.
Let's hope so. Who's Matty Cannon? He says, match of the day, couldn't wait to move on to the next match last night. Matty Cannon, are you anything to do with this, our all-time leading appearance player? Let me know if you are, please, in the chat, because I can see that you're out there. Right, where are we going next, mate? Transfer window?
Oh yeah, shall we do transfer window? We don't normally like to talk about speculation, but there has been a lot of questions about it, haven't there, lately? So we won't talk about the irrelevant ones that have been bandied about. We seem to be. I actually looked through the news feeds earlier on when doing the show notes, and I think at the last count it was like 32 players we've been linked with at some stage or another in the last 4 weeks. So some of them are completely irrelevant. So I'm not interested.
I'm not interested in the speculation ones. In fact, as a group, I think as a group we actually decided a few weeks ago. Do you know what? All the shit. Is it not sports90.com and all that crap that they tweet out every day for clicks? We're not even going to bother sharing it on the page. We'll leave that to the other groups. Leave that to CPFC Forever and all the rest of them. It's just not worth it. But we're going to deal, and Ian's about to cover fact. Okay, over to you, mate.
Well, we say fact. They're still not done, but these are more likely than anything else. Okay, players coming in. We've got Scott Banks from Dundee, who's the winger, Scottish under-19 kid. Reportedly a done deal on a pre-contract. That was in the Daily Record and has been picked up by a number of other papers. He's out of contract at the end of the season. And he's been linked with a number of Premier League clubs, and I think a lot of the clubs, as is their want, and which it really grates with me, because the money needs to trickle down to, and I'm not saying Dundee are a lot further down, but clearly, any money from the Premiership is going to help other leagues, and they could quite easily just said, look, we'll wait until you're out of contract, and then we'll just give what the tribunal will demand, and that's like 200 grand, which is taking the Michael a little bit. So we've reportedly done a deal, and we've offered them more money to get it done earlier, so that they'll get more out of it. Which, fair play. That's what I like to see. I know we've questioned our recruitment policy of late, and the fact that we just don't pay the going rate, and a lot of times. So well done. He is allegedly coming down for
this
a
week,
medical this week, isn't he? So that's again fits in with what Steve Parish told everyone 12 months ago. Young British talent, fine, that's great.
Well, on that subject, and Andrew Adams said the 2 young Scottish ones are within our budget, are very low risk to the club, and we may as well get them done. And I think Andrew makes a good point.
Yeah, well, Andrew said a couple, so he's probably talking about Aaron Hickey as well from Hearts, who's a young centre-back, again being courted by a number of Premier League clubs, as well as Celtic, his old club. But it's only interest at the minute, but there are very, very strong indications that we are likely to put a bid in for him. They're wanting $1.5 million, whether or not it'll be that, we couldn't say. But again, that's a young centre-back, a Scottish centre-back.
Yeah.
So we're at the minute, I'm looking at all these players, and I'm not seeing a striker on the cards. So the third and fourth ones are both right backs, and they're both young English right backs. Carl Walker-Peters, Tottenham, Again, we're aware that the club have, a strong interest in him, and the fact that he may actually want to come to us. Why it's taken quite so long, no one knows. Could it be that they're using him as a stalking horse to get someone else? That someone else potentially being Nathan Ferguson, who's the right back at West Brom, and again being looked at by a number of clubs, and is also out of contract at the end of this season. So there's clearly activity going on. We're clearly hamstrung by our overspending. I don't know if people saw. I know that someone put it on the news feed for Red and Blue News earlier in the week that there was an article come out showing the top 20 wage payers in Europe, and we are number 20.
20, yeah, it was on there.
The 20th largest payer of wages. That is where our money is going, ladies and gentlemen.
Can I just jump in a minute? Matty Cannon came back to me. He said, "Our big Jim." According to my uncle Mick, apparently, he says apparently they are related in some way. So need to do some digging on that one, though, gents. Okay, well, let me explain to you who our big Jim is, Matty. 571 appearances for the club. I thought it was 400 and something, but according to this, it's 571 appearances, scoring 30 times for Palace. Centre half. Glaswegian-born, 66-year-old defender for Palace, and he's still connected. You'll still see him regularly represent Crystal Palace on match days at Selhurst Park. So I've done a bit of thing, and that's off the top of my head, by the way. If you believe that shit, you believe it. Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
He's a nice guy. As far as the transfer window is concerned, in fact, Jim Cannon might even appear on the show in the not too distant future. And it's something we're working towards.
Yeah.
As far as the transfer window is concerned, Ben made a very good point in the chat earlier on that don't forget, nobody is making massive signings. Nobody's doing huge amounts of business. And a lot of the business will now come in the last few days. And I have a concern and I have a worry. And I did put, I don't know where, I posted it somewhere maybe on Twitter this week. My concern is if we don't do some business in the next, how long have we got left of the window now?
Yeah, it's the end of the month, isn't it? So it's probably
10 days.
11 days.
11 days. My concern, and whilst I'm not ringing out alarm bells, I do have a worry about this. You can tell that every interview he gives now, the manager alludes to the depth of squad, how weak we are behind the scenes, the fact that he's putting under 323s yesterday at the Etihad on the bench. My concern is if we don't get another 2 or 3 over the line by the close of the window, that will have a direct effect on whether he signs an extension to his contract or not. And my honest opinion, this is not the opinion of Red and Blue Review. This is Nick Philpott's personal opinion. If we are not successful in the transfer window that we are currently in by the close of play, he will leave us at the end of the season. And better the devil you know. Be careful what you wish for, everybody, because Roy Hodgson, we are currently sitting in 9th in the Premier League, okay, with a run of winnable games coming up. So we could be in the top 6, top 7 by the end of those winnable games. We need to support him. How can anybody, bar Roy Hodgson, have any success with all those injuries, but he's doing it? We are 9th in the Premier League. Please, Crystal Palace, get some deals over the line. Otherwise, we will lose Roy Hodgson. My personal views. Does anybody agree with me out there? Does anybody disagree with me out there? I'm reading your messages as they come through. I promise you. John Gill's already come back and said, I totally agree with you, Nick. Ian, sorry, mate, I interrupted you again.
No problem at all. So that's 4 players that we're potentially linked with and, that could well come in. So you've got a winger, you've got a centre-back and 2 right-backs. The problem is we said, we're hamstrung by the wages we're paying. So in order to get anyone big, we are going to have to get rid of players. The high earners, the Mamadou Sakkos, the Christian Benteke's, Connor Wickham. Mamadou Sakho, 120 grand a week. Benteke, 120 grand a week. Just $250,000 a week there. Then you've got someone like Wickham who's on 80, maybe. So That's big money. So with that, we have a couple of players that are linked with going to our clubs, but again, only tenuously. Benteke potentially to Villa, although every pundit I've seen says no, don't touch him with a barge pole. Which again begs the question. I know Jel mentioned it weeks back about why are we giving this? We were talking about Benteke. We're giving him another year. We're giving him another year, and then saying we don't want to get rid of him. What is going on?
Did you see his pre-match interview this week, Ian?
No, I heard that I heard he said he was going to stay. But
no, not about him. About Benteke and Wickham. He said, "I can't." He was quite blunt to the reporter, whoever the reporter was. Are you actually serious in asking me that, with my squad depleted as it is at the moment, that the two strikers that I have got in the squad, forget Tosun, who's just joined us, are you seriously suggesting that we are going to let Benteke and Wickham go? He said, if it wasn't on a live press interview, it's laughable. Going back to what everybody else I was talking about with losing the manager, everybody's saying they're basically. I'm not going to go through them all, but they're agreeing with what I'm saying as far as the manager. Just be careful what you wish for. I mean, who are we going to bring in? We're going to bring in the young fella at Bournemouth. Well, he's doing well, isn't he? Not.
I think that's always every manager has a trough. But the real test for Hodgson for me will be when he does have money and he does have a squad, and let's see what he does with that. He's doing all right in a minute, and I agree. While we've got the Americans holding us to ransom, as it were, by withholding the purse, keeping a tight rein on the purse strings and withholding funds because they want out, but only on their terms. I think if things change and we do get investment and we do get money for players, I'd be really interested to see who we then go for and whether or not they will play. Because clearly, flair players aren't Hodgson's forte. So I think having a workmanlike team will only get you so far. And if that's top 10, for the next few years, then fair enough. Okay, let's not buy anyone then, and let's just bank the money, and then till we get someone in who likes flair players, and then we've got squillions to spend on all these flair players, and bring that's what the academy is for as well. Bring the kids through as well.
Right. So, okay. Listen, you don't know this, okay? What I'm about to show you, but I have got page after page after page of my own questions from my team. Okay, from the team out there. Do you want to do some of these questions? Because it's already 9 o'clock. Okay. I'm happy to carry on as long as Greg's all right in the background.
Is Greg happy? Nod, Greg.
He hasn't given me a response yet. Okay. The answer is yes. It's come out. Right. We have got a million questions here. Okay. So where do you want to start? Do you want to go first?
Okay. All right. Let's do where would players currently out fit back in when fit?
Yeah, now that's a good question. I'm actually going to come in on that because it was, funny enough, it was something that Ben Allen said to me last night. Where do we see...
just before it's good night?
Yeah, something like that. It was, where do we... We're gonna have to do this. Luckily, we still got the team sheet up on the page, right? So while I clear my screen. So if we had a full squad, we're going to go through this player by player. So Joel Ward for Martin Kelly, yes or no, Ian?
Oh, that's a tough one. I would say yes because he's more of a proper right back.
Right, Tompkins and Cahill for Sacco, either one of them, yes or no?
No.
So you'd leave the pairing as it is, yeah?
Yeah, get rid of Sacco.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're coming to the interesting one in a minute, okay? But I want your opinion. Let me know what you think on any of these. So we've got Riedewald playing a left back. Patrick Van Aanholt comes back in, ready to play, and he's in training now. Do you bring him back in?
Yes, but I'd put him in as left wing. I'd keep Riedewald where he is.
Right, and this is the big one, everybody. Okay, now this has actually come from questions about Luca, and I'm looking through all my notes, and I will come to it, I promise you, at some point. The question is about Luca. What to do about Luca? We've just been to the Etihad, ladies and gentlemen. We've been to the Etihad, playing McCarthy, Kawate across the middle, Zaha and Ayew out on the wings. Do we look? Chris Brandrix has already answered the question. I haven't asked the question yet. He said, Luca, no. So the question is, what to do about Luka Milivojevic? How do we play him? Do we play him? And do you lot out there, all over 100 of you, want to play him? Ian, go.
Greg, can we do a quick poll? I think on the new version of Be Live we can put a poll. Tell me if I'm wrong, because that'd be a good one to use. But
he's actually got some technical issues in the background. He can't do anything like that, mate.
All right. I would say no, because he needs to learn. He needs to understand that he's not guaranteed. They all need to understand they're not guaranteed a game. And this is where Hodgson frustrates the hell out of me at times. When players are going through, he complains about his squad, but he's now got players that are stepping up to the mark. And you watch, he'll drop them again for Luca. Luca will walk back in. The only time I think we will miss Luca is if we have a penalty.
Okay, there you go. It was actually Graham Kitcher that asked me. Graham, thanks for all your questions, mate. I've got them all here, buddy. In light of the team's performance yesterday, will Luca find it difficult to get back into the starting 11? And that was and then, funnily enough, within seconds, Ben Allen asked me the same question in the group admin chat. Okay, and it was
Jerome, Gavin, Nathan, Paul. They both asked the same question as well. So, it's clearly a lot of people are considering it, thinking about it.
It's very difficult, isn't it? Very difficult. Do you want me to do one?
Go on, then.
Who else we got? Okay, right, Ben Allen again. Sorry, Ben, to keep mentioning your name. How many points means safety this season? I think 38 this year isn't enough, and I agree. Take goal difference into account, and I reckon, and this is what he's saying, I reckon it will be 40. There's always going to be someone every season that says to me, you're going to need more than 40 points. Well, you never do. And then Greg came back with a couple of responses. Your thoughts on... I'm going to give you mine in a minute, but I'd like to know your thoughts, Ian. Where do you think safety is?
I completely think... Well, sorry. Look at Southampton. Southampton are what? 3 points below us now?
Yeah.
Right. So Southampton were dead and buried 4 weeks ago. The problem is that the people at the bottom aren't cast adrift at the bottom quite yet. And therefore, we keep having... sometimes I would sacrifice a draw for a loss in order to get a win the next game, because 1 point, okay, it was a great point yesterday. Don't get me wrong, it was a great point. But 1 point yesterday just edges us. We're not getting anything. I'd rather win, lose, win, lose, win, lose than draw, lose, win, draw, lose, win, because we won't get enough points. Listen, I'm old enough to have seen us go down on 46 points on goal difference, 42 points. I know that 4 teams went down in those days. But everyone's taking points off of everyone at the minute. So you cannot be complacent. For me, 40 points, I'm not quite sure is going to be enough at the minute.
Correct.
I think personally, we'll get more than 40 points anyway. So I don't think that we're in a... Oh God, I can't believe I just said that. Sorry. I'm not sure that we will be in a relegation battle, but I think even those that are, 40 points may not be enough to save them.
Can you give me a number, for God's sake? After all that ramble, you never did give me a number.
I'd say 42.
Yeah, and I actually said 44 in the chat. I said 44 in the chat. But the other thing, of course, and by the way, Greg Ellis, who's producing tonight, thank you for pushing the one button. I know you can't push buttons out at the moment, mate. But Greg Ellis actually put some stuff up in our chat the other day, or today I think it was, and he actually proved that since we've been back in the Premier League, you don't need more than 38 points. You're right, Greg, but I really feel that this year will be the difference. It won't be us, and I think Ian's quite right to be. Yeah, Graham Kitchen just said 42 points. I think 42, 43, 44 will be serious. Then you've got to look at who's below us, okay? There is some dross down there, and I don't care whether it's Norwich, Watford, West Ham, Southampton, they're all down there. Brighton, of course, let them go. Let them go. There are 3 worse teams than us, and we're sitting, whatever it is, 3 points off the top 5. We're 6 points off the bottom 3. That means a team like West Ham, with that run of games, have got to win those games plus another 2 on top of it. It ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen. And even if it's not West Ham that goes down. Again, Graham said, in all honesty, the team has done us proud today. People expected us to get hammered up there. The first question up should be about offering Guaita a new contract. Your thoughts?
Yes, and more yes.
Anybody else disagree with that? Bear in mind, I've already stated so far is probably my player of the season.
Here's a question. How much is Guaita worth in the market currently?
There's a different market to outfield players, isn't it? That's the trouble.
Well, exactly, because I find it incredibly hard to gauge the worth of a goalkeeper, because they very rarely get mentioned in the headlines or anything. 50 million or whatever. So I rate him as I don't know if my brother's on the obviously goalkeeper. He'll give his opinion, but where do we rate him in the league of current Premier League goalkeepers? I think he's in the top 4.
Certainly in the top 5 or 6, I would have thought. But your brother's just mentioned the fact that he's old. People are throwing money. And Max Francis just said 10 million%, offering him a new contract. James Elsey saying 20 million quid. I'll tell you what it does, going back to the chat on the relegation battle, in my mind, I think people's focus needs to be how important Tuesday night's game against Southampton is. It is, that will give us Ian, you were just talking about the cushion between us. We keep getting these points, and I think it's 4 draws and a win in the last 5 games is what we've had. Okay,
yeah.
If we took the opportunity to put a 3-point cushion on top of that, that will be your cushion that you're looking for. That will be your cushion.
So I mean, you just mentioned that 4 draws and a win, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's 7 points. If you've got 2 wins and a draw, that's 7 points. So you see what I'm meaning? With regards to these draws, they're just. I sometimes think we put a lot more than we should in gaining that, a valuable point. Because
talking about Tuesday night's game, Nigel came back to me earlier on, and he said, "What chance do we have on Tuesday night?" ? Listen to this, everybody. In case you don't know, the officials are Andre Mariner and John Moss on VAR. Looking at VAR. So I went back to him. I said to him, well, what's our record with Mariner since he's been around? And bless his heart, he came straight back to us. He said, the answer to your question, Nick, is we were promoted, since we've been promoted to the Premier League, which includes 2 FA Cup matches, 8 wins, 9 draws and 5 defeats. It's his decision-making that's bothering Nige. So thanks for the question, Nige. Appreciate it, mate. Anything on that you want to talk about?
No, I've got another question.
Go for it.
Andrew Adams, prolific questioner. Recruitment policy. Controversial question for some, but is Friedman actually doing a decent job considering their lack of American investment? After all, we've got the likes of Gaeta, McCarthy, Tosun, Kayati, Cahill, and off of that, he's missed out Ayew and I can't think of his name, but another one. But it's a fair point, Andrew. I know that we get frustrated with the lack of players coming in because we think that a new player is, always the grass is always going to be greener, as it were. But what the people we have brought in, there have been very few duds, have there?
What about Yak? Let's not me telling you to be sick, by the way. What's his name? Yak. Who are the 2 that we bought in that we never saw? Yak was one of them, and
the Polish defender. And Ertic.
Yeah, those 2.
The Swedish kid. Yeah, well, I mean, they were again. Well, Camarasa was another one, isn't he? So
in the chat, give me some of your worst signings under Friedman, please. Since he's been our director of football, Rob Donovan's.
Listen, but what I would say.
Go
on.
Rob Donovan was saying that his boy's the mascot on Tuesday night. He's going to get him to kick Mariner for us. Yeah, young Donovan, do your job, my man. Nick will be in the stands watching and waiting for you to do it. Sorry, mate.
Make sure you're wrapped up warm as well, Donovan. It's going to be freezing.
Rackip. Thank you, Rob, for that quick response. Yeah, and no, Surloff. Yeah, well, Surloff scored a hat-trick today, and Yak Lucas said, yeah.
Do you know, I've said this all along on the pod, is that I rate him. I don't think he was given a fair lick. He showed a lot of quality. We just didn't play to his. Okay, he might have been a bit arrogant. He might have thought he was going to come in and tear it up, and he's obviously had to eat humble pie. But the kid clearly knows where the goal is. And yes, okay, it might not be the equivalent of the Premier League, but we're looking in the Championship for players anyway. So we're not looking at Premier League players a lot of the time. We're looking for players that know where the goal is. The issue for me with our strikers has not just necessarily been about the quality of the striker; it's been about the service to the striker. And I was pleased to see that at least with Tosun, we've got someone that can add a bit Murray-esque on, with a bit of speed, as far as I could see.
What about? I'm page missing the sign-off, so I can't see the sign-offs, but I'm sure you'll help me with that towards the end of the show.
Go on.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget on Tuesday night, we welcome back to Selhurst Park under the lights the usual welcome that we must remember to give James Ward-Prowse. Did anybody remember that? Hopefully, and this is from Graham again, hopefully he gets the right reception from the Palace faithful that he richly deserves, the cheating little shit, quote unquote. And I ain't got a problem with that either. Quite right too. And I hope the trouble is with that sort of person coming back to the club, I just hope it doesn't get under Wilf's skin. I want Wilf just to show him. Oh, here you go. Greg's just given us Rackip, Yak, Morange, and Hunt. Yeah, but I don't think the last Morange. I forgot about him. It's good that Surloth is doing so well. If he comes back to us, we want him full of confidence, says Greg. I don't know who. Kevin Lyons has just used a word in the chat. It's a family show, Kevin Lyons. I cannot possibly repeat that. By the way,
exactly. And you just dropped the S-bomb. Are we going to have to beat that out, Greg, for the American audience?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, do you know what? I could give a stuff about certainly two of the American audience. As soon as they leave the club, the better. Simon Cribbin says, lots of talk on here about Tosun, rightly so. Any chance that we can do for Tosun that's what he said. That's how he said it. Tosun is how he spelled it. What we did for RLC and Batshuayi. They had a great loan spell with us, reignited their career, and then pissed off back to their parent club and never looked back.
Yeah, but I think, as we said earlier, there's some school of thought that there's potential signing balls at the end of the season anyway. So it was a loan with a view to perhaps buy anyway. So if he does well, I mean, when he was interviewed after the game, he said that he really appreciated the running. The team did, and the team did for him. So, and when he scored, all the smiles all around, and you're jumping all over him as if he's been there for months. So, he seems to have settled in well.
Right, Brad, I'm going to struggle with your surname, mate, but I'm going to do it anyway. Brad Campagnac in the chat. He's just told us in there that Mariner was the referee under the Ward-Prowse incident. Dun, dun, dun. I'll tell you, Brad, if you are right on that, that is cracking knowledge, my man. And thank you for sharing.
Conspiracy theory.
And oh God, that honestly, if you just pulled that off the top of your head, mate, very, very impressed. Really good stuff. Right, I think it's now 9:15 on their People Sunday evenings. There's still loads of people watching, 95 people watching. I think we're going to wrap up there. I've got some thank yous to do. Greg, Ian, you got them there, haven't you?
Yeah, okay. So, as always, a continued thank you to John Lyons, Graham Kitcher, Kevin Lyons, Clark Samuel. So
Tom Clark Samuel.
Tom Clark Samuel. Sorry, Tom. So thank you all for your continued support. Don't forget, it's your support that helps us get the show on out on a weekly basis. as well as enabling us to plan for the future. Clearly, if anyone else out there would like to help us, support us in a similar fashion, then just contact the show, contact any one of us on Facebook, and we'll be happy to chat. But thank you, guys. It's much appreciated. Don't think it isn't. Yeah, and it's been great.
It has been great. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, you've turned out in your droves on a Sunday night. Point against that junior Manchester club up there. Fantastic point. Big turnout and big volume required at Sellers Park on Tuesday evening for what is, I think, is a pivotal game in our season, and certainly they need something from it. I think life is good as a Palace fan. Thank you for your comments, Simon. I can see you out there, mate. I've got to mention Simon Philpott because he moans at me because he doesn't get a mention every now and again. Thank you, each and every one of you, wherever you're watching. Don't forget to go to the redandbluereview.co.uk and tell the world about the Red and Blue Review, because this is your show, all about you.
Spread the word, spread the love.
Spread the love. On behalf of Ian, Jel, I'm sorry you missed out again, mate. Greg in the background, thank you very much. But on behalf of Ian Lyons and Nick Philpott, God bless. Good up the Palace. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys.